What's good, y'all? Excuse me. This shouldn't be a long video, but just over the course of the last couple of days, I chimed in on a video the good brother Boxing Ego put up, and we're talking about Canelo, right? And throughout the course of the years of Canelo's career, he's often been the subject of conversation because he's a popular fighter. There's crossover appeal, whether you are Latino, Hispanic, Mexican descent, whatever, and just plenty of fight fans in the States and across the world. Canelo has been a very popular fighter, so obviously we're gonna discuss the guy. What I find crazy, what I find disappointing, right, is that we can't seem to critique a fighter without it being hate these days. Like, if you say anything at all, that you'd like to see done better or that you disapprove of or whatever, but there's a way to administer constructive criticism without being a hater. Like, there are plenty of things that I like. It's like I enjoy watching Canelo fight. Let me flat out be honest. I enjoy watching him fight. The problem has been, and this is my opinion, and you can feel however. I mean, you're entitled to yours. I felt like since the Lara fight, Canelo's opponent selection has been a lot more methodical. It's been a lot more thought out. It's been a lot more pre-planned, and it's been a little safe. Let's just be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. The Canelo that fought Lara, that's the Canelo I really enjoyed, because if I remember correctly, Oscar De La Hoya did not want Canelo to fight Lara. Like, stylistically, that just was not a fight that he thought was in Canelo's best interest. They were just building up this guy who would end up being on many people's the top of pound for pound lists. He was going to sell many pay-per-views and all that kind of thing. So they were just kind of really getting cracking, and Oscar didn't want to mess with that. Kudos to Canelo for having the cojones to insist, no, I'm good enough. I want this. This is the kind of smoke I'm looking for. And he did it. Now listen, Erislandy Lara, credit to him, arguably won that fight. And I feel like if you're being honest and you're being as objective as possible, you have to at least concede to the fact that you can see that there is a reasonable argument for Lara winning that fight, just like there's a reasonable argument for Canelo to have won the fight. Feel how you feel. I felt like since that point, it has been about Canelo the business more than it's been about Canelo the fighter. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Canelo that I take issue with. And certainly this last, I don't know how many years of the European tour that we've been on, come on, guys, it's boring, and you know that it's boring. You know it is. You know it's boring. You don't get excited. I heard mothers in Europe have stopped naming their children Caleb and Liam because they're scared Canelo's gonna knock on their door. Like, Canelo wants all the smoke with everybody with those names. Like, they're not even, from this point on, we're not even having that no more. So look, you can be a fan of a fighter and still criticize that fighter. It would be like, there's been a lot of folks that are conservatives in the United States that feel like if you say anything about to critique the United States or things that the United States needs to improve on, or certainly storied histories of injustice and things that the United States has done poorly, or even just maliciously, all of a sudden you're not American. That's not how this works, y'all. When you care about a thing, like I care about boxing, so there are going to be things that I criticize about boxing because boxing has to get some of this stuff together. I can say that. Not because I'm a hater, not because I can't stand boxing and I want boxing to fail and I want Canelo to fail and I want, bruh, that's not how this is. Where's this road? So the same should be applicable to Canelo, yo. If you like him or love this guy and however you feel, especially if you're a paying customer, you're a person who's supporting them with pay-per-views. You might be buying merchandise or going to press conferences or going to weigh-ins, and you have stake in the game. You got skin in the game, man. You're in it. Your opinion as a paying fan is valid. And it doesn't make you anti-Mexican or anti-Latino or anti-Hispanic or any of that to criticize the guy. I have asked this several times. Why is it that people like Eric Morales and Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., Juan Manuel Marquez and Nacho Berenstein, are they less Mexican now for having opinions about Canelo Alvarez? No, of course not. They're listen, your allegiance to your culture and to your nationality and your ethnicity, it's legitimate and it's cool, and I get it. You know, you want to have some pride, and that's cool. I fully understand that. But one man doesn't. The Mexican people are not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's allowed to have independent ideas of their own, first of all. And Canelo does not speak for any and all things Mexican. He's one man. This is a guy who, and I'm going to tell you, I vehemently disagree with this aspect, and he didn't get anywhere near as much criticism as I thought should have been bestowed upon him when you openly say a thing like this. But saying that you're not going to fight another Mexican fighter, for example, it is silly to just, I represent Mexico, so I don't want to fight any other Mexican fighters. First of all, how did this go down in the past? Because I recall seeing fantastic trilogies and fights like Morales and Barrera, both Mexican fighters. At that point, it's like, who's representing Mexico City, who's representing Tijuana? You know what I'm saying? But like, by doing that, doesn't it remove the opportunity for the baton to be passed to the next great Mexican fighter? If you are right now the man, you're at the zenith, the next young Mexican fighter doesn't get to test himself against you. More importantly, being the face of boxing, certainly one of the most popular fighters in the world, you are now saying, I'm not going to pay another Mexican fighter, which means a Mexican team, trainer, fighter, that gym. So money is going to go back to all of the fighters that are applying their trade at that gym of the fighter that you're fighting now. That all of the families that I just mentioned, many people still currently involved in the Mexican economy are receiving the money from the payday to test themselves against Canelo Alvarez. You're telling me that this whole thing was about Mexican pride and, la raza, or whatever vantage point and selling point that Canelo is looking to issue out to justify not fighting another Mexican fighter. You're telling me, Canelo, that you'd rather send millions of dollars to another country's economy instead of Mexico. That makes you more Mexican? And this is what I'm saying, guys. This is the kind of thing that I can criticize this is purely logic. This isn't a hating thing. If you just give it some thought, like, I don't understand his rationale. I'm not in the man's mind. I don't know him. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. So I can't tell you exactly what his rationale is. I can tell you what he told us. And that's that he didn't, because he represents Mexico, he doesn't want to fight any Mexican fighters, which to me, I believe it's either selfish, meaning that he's aware that what he's doing and he's just not gonna bend from that, or it is short-sighted in the sense that I think maybe he just hasn't delved into this too deeply And he's not considering that he is robbing the opportunity of another Mexican fighter to come up and carry the torch, have the torch passed to him. You know what I'm saying? As a current Mexican great, you're not giving another young up-and-coming Mexican great the opportunity. Not to mention, you are denying the Mexican economy and Mexican families and Mexican fighters the chance to make the same kind of money that you're giving to a guy who, a piece of a POS like Billy Joe Saunders, you're going to give him money. You're going to give Kovalev, dog-kicking, lady-beating, DUI, drunken. You're going to give these guys the opportunity to make millions of dollars, but not your fellow countrymen, not perhaps young Mexican fighters that are idolizing you. This is what you're doing. And see, this is what I'm saying. I can criticize these things there's no vitriol, there's no narrative or agenda where I'm trying to denigrate Canelo, but I'm saying that y'all have to, us as the fans, we condone this stuff by not speaking on it and letting it fly. You can't, I get that everybody want to be on code and all, but listen, if you're going to be a man of integrity and a man of honor, then you speak the truth, period. Doesn't really matter, man. Every time I talk, y'all, I care about boxing more than I care about any boxer. I care about fighting more than any fighter. And these are the things that we'll be able to pass down from generation to generation, where people are going to be able to enjoy the same sport that we enjoy. But the integrity has to be intact and has to be fought for, because you're looking at, between marketing and social media and old media, reporters and such, like Ring Magazine, old entities like that, and then fans who will excuse absolutely anything. We create these monsters, and then we're getting John Ryder kind of fights. No one is interested. And I don't know that those numbers have been released, and I don't think those numbers are going to be released, because I'm sure they're not powerful numbers. I'm sure they're not strong numbers. So, guys, this is an open letter to Canelo fans. I want you to be honest. No one says you can't love or like your guy. If that's what you do, cool. But he is not Mexico. He is one man who is Mexican. It does not take away from your allegiance to culture, to ethnicity, to nationality, to criticize in an honest and constructive manner. It doesn't. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. You don't pay them damn pay-per-view prices. You're allowed. You're allowed to say it. And you're allowed to demand. Your dollar is like your vote, like your political vote. This is your economic vote. Your dollar, you can choose what to pay for and what not to pay for. You can demand, say, hey, yo, look, I don't know, and I don't care what you think of the Charlos. I don't care if you think the Charlos are utter garbage. That's fine. That's you. That's what you think. It's fine. You're allowed. You're entitled to your own opinion. But I don't think anybody who says that Canelo versus Charlo in Dallas Cowboys Stadium would not be a complete banger. From a television-friendly, stylistic manner, the way they clash is going to be good television. The promotion would be good and solid quality. You got Jerry's World and all of that, the cross-promotion of it would probably sell out, because this is in Texas. The Charlos are from Texas, and there is a huge Mexican contingent in the state of Texas. It would sell out. It would be huge. It would make huge money and be a huge event that we'd all be on the boards talking about, on the boxing pages talking about the next day, and all throughout the lead up. It might be such a banger. What if we get a rematch? What if we get a trilogy? Like, y'all gotta stop being so short-sighted and arguing away events. Win or lose, fights are memorable when they are events. Everybody's talking. The energy's built up. We feel it. And it culminates to this one moment consisting of 12 rounds where we get to see human drama unfold. So it's really just all I'm asking. Like, this will be the last thing because I got stuff to do. I'm actually working right now. It was funny. I brought up on again, this is on brother Boxing Ego on one of his YouTube videos, that I said, like, Canelo has stopped giving caring stopped caring about what the fans want a long time ago, again with the Lara thing. And I had there's a lot of folks I had to dunk on, posterize and whatnot, but like this one dude, and he was probably seemingly the most educated and articulate, well-spoken, well-written brother of the bunch. But his whole argument was to discuss Floyd Mayweather's career. So rather than talk about the opponents and the whys and the wins and all of these things with Canelo's career himself, he basically made a concession, because if you're telling me that Floyd Mayweather did essentially the same thing, and Floyd did this, and Floyd did that, so what you're saying is then, you concede to my point that Canelo's career, certainly, I think we can all agree that a large portion of that man's career has been carefully orchestrated, match made, and decided. They moved the ship in a certain direction to stay away from troubled waters for the most part. And I mean, okay. I don't know if you guys know this, especially if you're younger. All fighters have matchmakers. Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, you name the fighter, there is a matchmaker involved with that fighter's team to let you know who to steer to and steer from. That has been the case forever. There are matchmakers. That's the thing. Whatever. So this is not exclusive to Canelo. It certainly wasn't exclusive to Floyd or Mike Tyson or anybody else. There's a matchmaker affiliated with that team. Because people have a vested financial interest in fighters. So they want to make sure to get ROI, return on their investment. They want to make sure that they are profiting off the fighter they have invested in. Okay? So that's just, these are just facts, y'all. But in talking about Floyd and going down, the dude said the last 10 years of Floyd's career, he didn't have a super fight, and he was just fighting, ho-hums and also rans and all that, which is crazy because he fought Canelo and he fought Manny Pacquiao in the last 10 years of his career. If those ain't super fights, I don't know what a super fight is. If Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather is a super fight, I don't know what a super fight is. So, I mean, he could have just saved himself a lot of trouble and either hit BoxRec or did a quick Google search. I mean, these days you could just talk it into your phone and it'll talk right back and tell you. That's exactly what I did. Bang, 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 just to verify I knew what I wanted the specific dates. So that doesn't make any sense. And ultimately, again, if your argument is that Floyd did it, so you're saying then, because you're not arguing that Canelo did not, you're telling me that Floyd did. So that I'm right in terms of what I'm saying. At this point, and I've said this for years now, I think Canelo's left knee is bothering him. He's, we've seen several training camps with the knee brace on, like a light blue knee brace, that kind of thing. I think we're winding down here inevitably. I think some of the passion is gone. There's been videos of him drinking. Hey, he's not the first fighter to drink. I'm just saying, I think we're getting to a place where golf and drinking and chilling, that's taking precedence over being hungry enough to push the envelope. If it were me, I think you go Charlo, Texas Stadium, and if you win Benavidez and win, lose, or draw there, retire. It's done. There's no sense in pushing this thing further and further where it's looking like he's slowing down. That's my personal advice. That's what I'd like to see him do. 2 big blockbuster fights. And of course, if there's any tight fights with those, maybe we get some rematches and we just call it a day, man. Call it a day. But my open letter to you all, this is to the Canelo fans. You are no less Mexican. You are no less Latino or Hispanic by wanting to see one of the best fighters in the world fight interesting fights that you are going to be excited about, and you're not sure who's going to win. That provides you the thrill. So when you invite everybody over for the fight party, and we get the beers and we get the food and we chilling, and now the fight starts, you got those butterflies because you don't really know exactly what's going to go down, and you're in the fight. You're emotionally invested. That's what you want. You don't really want. You can't possibly be a fan if you just want to see the same rerun all the time. I'm just asking you to do better. This is not a tribalistic war. It is not me versus you, because I like to watch fights too. I may not be Latino or Hispanic. I may not be Mexican. But I like watching boxing. And I assume you do too. If you're watching this video, if you made it to this point, what, like 21 minutes through, and you don't like boxing, I don't know why you're here. But I appreciate you. But I'm you know, I assume if you're watching this, you enjoy boxing. And I'm asking you, as a Canelo fan, to be a little bit more mature and nuanced in your boxing conversation and be able to criticize this guy. I can criticize any and every fighter because nobody's perfect, and there are things that could be improved and done better. That makes us human beings, y'all. And it's not hate and denigration to look at some things and see areas that might require some improvement. Certainly as it relates to your dollar, because you're spending money on this entertainment. Most of y'all have no problem walking out of a movie theater and be like, yo, that movie was terrible. That was some cut. Because you paid your bread and it wasn't good. You might even be like, yo, I'm not seeing no more M. Night Shyamalan joints, because I mean, he's been slumming. Every time I go there and I pay my money, I go to the theater, I'm not getting what I paid for or what I thought I was paying for. You could do the same with fighters. It doesn't make you less of anything to do that because you're a consumer paying with your hard-earned money, y'all. It's not a beef. It's not a black and brown thing or whatever. It's not none of that. We are boxing fans. And that, my friend, we have in common. So me and you should be on the same page where we want good fights. We don't make the millions of dollars. I'm working right now. I got to get up and go to work tomorrow, and I assume you probably do too. These guys we're talking about are millionaires. Canelo ain't got to get up and do nothing tomorrow if he don't want to. Can't nobody make him. And he got the bread, his light's gonna be on, he got all the food he want in the fridge, he can go out to eat, he can go shopping, he can do whatever he wants. So, when it's you and I that have to shell out $60, $70, $80, $90 for pay-per-view, depending on the event, we should have some say. It doesn't make you less of anything. If anything, it makes you more of an actual, true boxing fan because you're demanding the fights that you know we all want. And listen, something like Canelo Charlo pop off, I'll be right there to enjoy it with you, dog. I'll be right there to enjoy. We might not even be rooting for the same person, but it won't matter because we're enjoying the same fight in the same night for the same reasons. Right? All right, man. I'll let y'all.